Hello guys, welcome back. It's Erin. Today I wanted to give you, I think, how many did I write down? 5. I wrote down 5 tips. 5. 5 tips for making the most of clinical. Because I know that there are a lot of you that are going to be starting school here soon or are just starting school, prereq, something. And I've been through a couple clinical classes now. I've been through OB, PEDS, adult one, which is really med surg one, and then fundamentals, which kind of didn't count because it was like 5 weeks and we couldn't do anything but vitals. Anyway, tip number 1, I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget. Tip number 1 is go in with an open mind. If you already kind of know what specialty you want to get into, then that's fantastic. But you do need to go in and keep an open mind about what you want to do. Just because you may find something that you absolutely love while you're at the clinical setting. I went into OB thinking I was going to hate it. It wasn't as bad as I thought during clinical, but it's not really my cup of tea. I went into PEDS thinking, oh goodness, I don't know about this. I'm afraid I won't like it, but I really want to like it, and I ended up loving it. So go in with an open mind. Don't have reservations if you can help it beforehand. Tip number 2, ask a million questions. From what I've heard from nurses and instructors is the student they're worried about is the one who doesn't ask any questions. So ask all the questions. Even if you need to write them down on a piece of paper and wait till you're out of the patient room. Also, don't be afraid to ask questions in front of patients. They like to help teach you too, especially if it's like a stoma or something like that. They like to show you things, and they like to be involved and know that you're learning. Number 3, volunteer for everything. If there's a lab draw, go do it. If you hear someone like, hey, I gotta go do a bed bath in this room, like one of the techs, go do it with them. Learn from your techs, especially your care assistants, whatever you guys call them at your hospital. They know a lot more than you at this point. So learn from them, ask them questions too, but do everything. One of my other tips is don't say no. It kind of goes in the same lines. Don't refuse anything. Well, I mean, like to a point, you know what I mean? Because we had an incident where one girl, not in my clinical group, but in another one in my same hospital, told somebody that, well, that's not what nurses do. And that's not really true because nurses are housekeepers, they're techs. You know, they do everything. They do everything from emptying the trash to doing vitals to cleaning the bathroom. It depends on where you are, what kind of help you have, but always be willing to do something. Always step in. I've helped out housekeeping on more than one occasion, both at work as a secretary and as a student on the clinical floor. And I can't tell you how awesome they are. Dietary too. Help them out. You know, if they've got your patient's tray, you know, if you're going into the room, just say, yeah, I can take it in there. Or go ahead and take the dirty tray back to the dirty utility instead of waiting for them to come around. That kind of a thing. Really my last tip is be a sponge. Absorb as much as you can, whether that be hopefully not literally absorbing like liquids and things, but be around things, even if you can't help with something. The other day I got to see a PICC line get replaced, which is really cool because I keep the existing PICC line in and put one kind of over it. It's very weird, but I loved it. I learned so much in that like 30 minutes that I was in the room, and the nurses were really good about talking me through it and explaining things. So I just stood there. I didn't do anything, but I got to watch and I got to learn. Same thing with dressing changes, like sterile dressing changes. I've done one, but I've seen a couple others. Working with wound vacs, stuff like that. If I have never done it before, I opt to watch the first time and then jump in the second time. And that's just the way I roll. Sometimes I'll just jump right in the first time, but really I just try and absorb everything you can. There's so much information and you're not going to realize how much you're learning until you're done with, you're at the end of clinical or you're on a test and the information's there and you're like, oh my gosh, I totally remember this. We saw it last week. I've got it in there. I don't have to think about it. So, you know, so go in with an open mind, ask a million questions, volunteer for everything, don't say no, and be an absolute sponge. And that's really all I've got. Nice, quick, dirty, like 4 minutes, 45 seconds, something like that. So I will see you guys later. I hope you're having a great day. Let me know how your semester is going down below, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye.